Hi there, Kate Bora and Fiona Pearman joining you for this week's live as we continue our conversation around presenting with confidence and impact. And today we want to talk about why it matters, why this is a really important leadership skill, and then really dig into the important conversation of what gets in the way of us doing this really well.
Yeah, I think we want to start with, visibility is career currency. If people can't see you, if they can't hear your ideas, if your work is unseen, it's going to be undervalued. And it's very hard for others to appreciate your skill and your expertise and capability. So it's one thing to do the great work. That's really important, of course. But if other people can't see that, which comes through your willingness to present with confidence and impact, then we get a far more potent expression of what it is we're capable of, and stakeholders get to recognize what we bring to the table.
Yeah, I think, we can work one-on-one with many stakeholders, but that takes a lot of time and energy. And realistically, we're not going to get that opportunity to work with everyone across an organization. So your ability to present, to communicate, and to demonstrate your skill, capability, and experience away from a one-to-one to one-to-many is where you get to demonstrate and showcase your skill, capability, experience, provide evidence to these stakeholders of the problems you solve, the value add. That leads to potential opportunities around sponsorship, them suggesting or maybe providing you opportunities that may support, enhance you professionally and potentially lead to career progression. But it absolutely is one of the fastest ways that you can build trust and credibility with stakeholders at scale. It's one thing to know something, to communicate it effectively in a short period of time with a group of stakeholders, to inform them, to give them certainty, and then to be able to help them align around and make better decisions, especially if you're not a peer, especially if you are lower down on the pecking chart or the org chart. It's, the quickest, fastest way for you to build brand and profile, get exposure, and ultimately fast track your career.
Yes, and I think this is why it becomes so challenging for people because we know it's important and we'd like to be able to do it. And yet there's a whole lot of things that come up and get in the way of people doing this. And we like to start here by examining the perception that you need, really a suite of skills, a whole lot of expertise. You need to be a presenter or someone who's, got some particular qualification in this. And the idea that there are certain things that others have that I don't often undermines our sense that we have what it takes to do this. And we might have a whole lot of ideas in our heads. We maybe think we don't know enough compared to others. We don't have the authority. And we may be worried about our presence and the fact that the lack of confidence is going to mean we don't land our message well. We might start waffling. We may not get that succinct, clear message across.
Yeah, I think the skill piece, I need skills. And comparison is a killer here because we compare ourselves to the great presenters, often those that have been doing it for a long time and have deep experience. And so it's a real strength for them. That is really unhelpful, right? The default piece for so many is I need to do a presentation skills course. Don't get me wrong, that is helpful. And there is skills, strategies that is helpful to learn and grow. And most of the time, the default story that I don't have the expertise or I need those skills is really a cover or a mask for fear. Right? We know that public speaking is a universal fear. Hands up for me. It was a huge thing for me in my finance career. I used to spend days and days obsessing over my slides, prepping the night before, the morning before, because, I had a lot of fear around it. I'm far more conscious now what was going on than I was back then that drove all of that really quite obsessive behavior. But in reality, most of us are afraid of being judged, looking stupid, being seen as not having the skill, capability, experience, not, that I shouldn't be up in front of people, that I'll get something wrong. One of the big things that come up when we're doing presenter skills training is that I'm going to get asked a question I can't answer, which of course is always a risk, or maybe that we make a mistake. So this fear piece is huge. It's one of the things that we address in our programs because it's something that generally we don't really acknowledge and dig into. And without it, it remains as a huge stumbling block for people really growing, building, and getting experience in this important capability.
And along with that, or usually part of what's going on from a fear perspective is we have a whole lot of nerves. We know that we're nervous. We know that we might go red. Often we get sweaty, we get clammy. I was in a conversation, a group coaching conversation last week, and one woman was saying, I freeze. I go literally, my hands are ice cold, and it makes me feel nervous and it makes me feel less capable. And so the bodily symptoms, what's happening in our nervous system, can also really drive that sense that, I don't have it what it takes. I'm not able to do things. And I think there's another piece around lacking clarity. If you're not sure what it is you need to say, if you haven't got that succinct message, if you don't know what the outcome is you want to achieve with the audience or what the audience is expecting from you, all of those pieces are really likely to hold you back or make you feel uncertain about your place and what it is you've got to contribute.
Yeah, I think, and again, it all comes back to fear, right? Fear drives overthinking, over preparing, as a strategy to protect yourself, which we never have certainty that we're going to get asked a question we can't answer. We always say, and we'll talk more to the how to, we always say, prepare for the question you can't answer. But, hands up, I've been the person that scripted things, that's, mapped out everything, had every detail ironed out. Of course, when we over prepare, we become very attached to our preparation and what we're going to do, and that can be an unraveling piece. And when we are up on stage, I think the final two pieces here is because most of us have so much stuff and fear about presenting. Not a lot of us don't have great practice. We don't get a lot of opportunities. We don't put ourselves out there, and we don't put our hands up to have a go at this. So without putting ourselves in spaces where we can get practice, where we can receive some feedback, where we can incorporate that constructive feedback into the next one, without what we call the feedback loop, we're unlikely to build this capability, and it stays really stuck in this, I guess, fear container, especially if we've had previous negative experiences, either a tough presentation where we have gone red, a brain shut down, we've kind of struggled to breathe, we've tripped, or had a really difficult, moment with an audience member, or something that hasn't gone well. So lots of, all of this comes together really under this piece around fear, and left unaddressed. It is something that really holds us back from putting ourselves out there from getting ourselves in what we call small, low stakes, safe opportunities where we can practice and really build this important leadership skill.
Yes, we know that there's a lot that you can do. We're going to dig into that next week, but we're going to leave that for now. And if you've enjoyed today's confidence conversation, or you know someone in your network who would benefit from it, please share it or tag them. If you'd like to see more of these confidence conversations, we've got over 350 over across on our YouTube channel. You can subscribe there and certainly binge watch as many as you like, as well as see testimonials from people who've participated in our Acts of Confidence program and have gone on to present even when they were a little bit nervous and worried about it. And when you're ready to go deeper with your relationship with Core Confidence, visit our website, coreconfidence.com.au.